Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that buried within the pages of an old, mysterious book lies a secret so powerful it could change the course of your life? A key, a master key, that unlocks doors to unseen realms, hidden knowledge, and unimaginable power. This is not just a book. It's a blueprint to the unseen forces that shape reality. And tonight, I'm going to reveal why this century-old text is more relevant and more dangerous than ever before. But be warned, once you hear this, you won't be able to unlearn it. Why should you keep listening? Because what you're about to discover could be the missing piece to your spiritual, mental, and even financial freedom. This is knowledge they don't want you to have. Oh, this book is not just about magic. It's about mastery of the self and the universe. Oh, why was this text both revered and feared? Because it teaches how to command spiritual forces. Oh, some say this book holds forbidden wisdom, truths that can elevate or destroy. Oh, the choice is yours. Will you use this knowledge for light, or will it consume you? Oh, in a world of chaos, the master key offers clarity, power, and control. Oh, the principles inside are timeless, used by mystics, leaders, and seekers of truth. There is a certain kind of knowledge that does not merely inform, it transforms. It does not just sit on the page. It awakens something deep within the soul. The Master Key by L.W. The Laurence is one of those rare texts that does not simply offer information. It offers power. Hidden within its pages are secrets that have been passed down through the ages, veiled in symbolism, guarded by initiates and feared by those who understand their potency. This is not a book for the casual reader. It is a key, an actual key, to doors that most people do not even know exist. What makes this text so extraordinary? It is the unapologetic assertion that the universe operates on laws, definite, unchanging laws, and that those who understand them can wield influence over their own destiny. This is not superstition. This is not vague philosophy. This is applied knowledge, a manual for those who dare to step beyond the limitations of ordinary thought and into the realm of true mastery. The book does not ask for blind belief. It demands experimentation, discipline, and courage. It promises nothing less than the ability to reshape reality, but only for those who are willing to do the work. Consider this: every great civilization, from the ancient Egyptians to the mystics of the East, has possessed some form of this knowledge. They built monuments that defy modern engineering, predicted cosmic events with startling accuracy, and influenced the minds of millions. How? Because they understood the hidden forces that govern it. The Master Key distills these principles into a form that, while controversial, is undeniably potent. It speaks of vibrations of mental dominion, of the alchemy of thought turning into tangible reality. Some dismiss it as mere occultism, but those who have dared to apply its teachings know better. They know that this book is not about fantasy. It is about function. Yet, with such power comes danger. Not the kind of danger found in fairy tales, curses, or demons, but the far more insidious risk of self-deception. The greatest threat in studying the Master Key is not that it might fail you, but that you might fail it. Many approach these teachings with greed, seeking shortcuts to wealth or control over others, only to find themselves ensnared by their own ignorance. The book does not offer tricks. It offers truth, and truth is ruthless with those who are not prepared. Why, then, should anyone venture into these depths? Because the alternative is a life lived by chance, tossed by external circumstances, never realizing that the true prison is not the world but the mind. The Master Key does not promise an easy path, but it does promise liberation, if one has the strength to grasp it. This is why it has been both revered and suppressed, why copies were once whispered about in secret circles, and why even today it carries an air of forbidden knowledge. So I ask you, are you content with the surface of things? Or do you suspect, as the greatest minds in history have suspected, that there is more, much more, waiting just beneath the veil? If so, then the Master Key is not just a book. It is an invitation, but be warned, once you turn its pages, there's no going back. The question is no longer whether these secrets exist. The question becomes, do you have the will to use them? There comes a moment in every seeker's life when they realize that the external world is not fixed. that reality is far more malleable than they were taught to believe. The Master Key by L.W. The Laurence is not just a book. It is a declaration of spiritual sovereignty, a manifesto for those who refuse to be victims of circumstance. At its core, this text teaches one unshakable truth. You are not here by accident, and your life is not ruled by chance. Every thought, every decision, every focused intention is an act of creation, whether you realize it or not. The difference between those who shape their destiny and those who are shaped by it lies in one thing: mastery. What does it mean to truly master oneself? It is more than discipline, more than willpower. It is the conscious alignment with the invisible forces that govern existence. The Master Key does not deal in vague mysticism. It provides a precise framework for understanding these forces and bending them to your will. It speaks of mental magnetism, of the vibrational frequency of thought, of the undeniable law that like attracts like. These are not abstract concepts, they are tools as real and as potent as any physical instrument. The book asserts that the mind is not a passive observer but an active creator, and that by harnessing its latent power, one can alter circumstances, attract opportunities, and even defy what others call fate. History's most influential figures, visionaries, leaders, and revolutionaries, understood this principle, whether they articulated it in spiritual terms or not. They knew that the external world is a reflection of the internal one, that poverty, mediocrity, and limitation are first born in the mind before they manifest in life. The Master Key strips away the illusions of powerlessness and reveals the uncomfortable truth. If you do not like your reality, you must first change your thinking. This is not positive affirmation. This is spiritual physics, a law as immutable as gravity. The book does not promise miracles. It demands work. It requires the dismantling of old mental habits, the ruthless excision of doubt, and the unwavering focus of a mind that knows its own power. Yet here lies the greatest challenge and the greatest resistance. Most people do not truly want mastery. Oh, they want shortcuts. They want to be handed success without the inner transformation required to hold it. The Master Key exposes this weakness immediately. It does not cater to the lazy or the fearful. It is a mirror, revealing exactly where the reader stands in their spiritual evolution. Are you still waiting for luck, for fate, for some external savior? Or are you ready to take the reins of your own existence? The book makes it clear. No one is coming to rescue you. The power was within you all along, but this power is not without its peril. To wield it carelessly is to invite chaos. The same mental forces that can build empires can also destroy lives if directed by ignorance or malice. The Master Key does not shy away from this truth. It warns that the path of mastery is not for the reckless or the arrogant. True spiritual power requires responsibility, a recognition that every thought sends ripples into the world, and every intention shapes reality, for better or worse. This is why so many who dabble in these teachings never see results. They seek control over others when the only control that matters is over oneself. So why pursue this path at all? Because the alternative is surrender to societal conditioning, to fear, to the illusion of powerlessness. The Master Key offers something radical, the unshakable knowledge that you are the architect of your life. Not your past, not your circumstances, not the opinions of others. You. This is not empowerment as the world defines it. This is something deeper, something older, something that the keepers of esoteric traditions have guarded for centuries. It is the understanding that freedom is not given, it is taken. The question, then, is not whether the Master Key holds truth. The question is, do you have the courage to live by it, to look in the mirror and see not a victim, not a bystander, but a master of your own destiny? If so, the book awaits. But be warned, once you step onto this path, there is no turning back. Ignorance, once dispelled, cannot be reclaimed. The choice is yours. Will you remain asleep? Or will you take the key and unlock your power? There exists a hidden current running beneath the surface of ordinary life, a stream of wisdom so potent that those who discovered it are forever changed. The Master Key by L. The Laurence is not merely a book. It is a gateway into this concealed realm, offering passage to those brave enough to venture beyond the veil of the visible world. What awaits is not fantasy, not superstition, but a living tradition of mystical knowledge that has shaped the course of human history in ways most will never comprehend. This is not about believing in magic. It is about recognizing the magical nature of existence itself and learning to navigate its unseen dimensions with precision and purpose. From the moment you engage with the Master Key, one truth becomes undeniable. The material world we perceive is only the outermost layer of reality. Behind it operates a vast, intricate system of energies, correspondences, and intelligences. What ancient traditions called the hidden architecture of creation. The book does not ask you to take this on faith. It provides a working system for interacting with these deeper forces. Through symbols, rituals, and the disciplined use of consciousness, it teaches how to align oneself with these currents and draw upon their transformative power. This is not abstract philosophy. It is practical mysticism, a science of the soul that has been practiced in secret by adepts across millennia. Consider the great mystery schools of antiquity, the Egyptian temples, the Pythagorean brotherhoods, the alchemists of medieval Europe. They all shared one common understanding, that true knowledge is not found in books alone, but in direct experience of the divine. The Master Key carries forward this initiatory tradition, serving as a modern-day guide for those who seek more than surface-level answers. It speaks in a language of symbols and allegories, not to obscure the truth, but to protect it, to ensure that only those with the right discernment and dedication can unlock its full meaning. This is why so many casual readers dismiss the text as obscure or outdated. They fail to recognize that its true teachings unfold gradually, revealing themselves only to those who approach with both intellect and intuition fully engaged. Yet this journey is not without its shadows. And the path of mystical awakening demands a confrontation with the self that few are prepared to face. The Master Key does not offer comfort, it offers truth, and truth has a way of shattering illusion. To walk this path is to undergo a kind of spiritual alchemy, where the base metals of ego and limitation must be burned away to reveal the gold of higher consciousness. Many begin this work with enthusiasm, only to retreat when they realize it requires nothing less than the death of who they thought they were. The book makes no apologies for this. It is not here to coddle, but to initiate. Why then would anyone subject themselves to such a trial? Because on the other side of this transformation lies something ineffable, a state of being where separation dissolves, where the individual mind touches the universal mind, where the seeker becomes, in the oldest sense of the word, a knower. This is not escapism. It is the ultimate realism, a direct encounter with the foundational energies that give rise to all phenomena. The Master Key provides the maps for this inner expedition, but each traveler must walk the path themselves. There are no proxies in the mystical journey, no gurus who can breathe wisdom into you, no rituals that can grant enlightenment without your full participation. The work is yours alone. In our modern age of instant gratification and digital distraction, this teaching stands as a radical counterpoint. It asserts that the most valuable things cannot be downloaded or streamed. They must be earned through patient, persistent inner labor. The book's very existence in our superficial times feels like a kind of miracle, a lifeline thrown across centuries to those who sense there must be more to life than what consumer culture offers. It whispers of forgotten potentials, of latent faculties waiting to be awakened, of a grander human destiny than our society dares to imagine. So the question remains, will you heed the call? Will you step beyond the safe boundaries of conventional thought and embark on this most ancient of quests? The Master Key does not promise an easy journey, but it does promise a real one. Not theories to debate, but experiences to be lived. Not beliefs to adopt, but truths to discover. The choice, as always, is yours. The gate stands open. The only question is, do you have the courage to walk through? Beneath the surface of our everyday reality rages an eternal conflict, one that shapes destinies, topples empires, and determines the rise and fall of civilizations. This is not a battle fought with weapons, but with something far more potent, consciousness itself. The Master Key by L.W. Laurence pulls back the curtain on this hidden war, revealing how opposing occult forces operate in the unseen dimensions of existence, and more importantly, how you are already participating in this conflict whether you realize it or not. This is not mythology. It is the hidden mechanics of power that have influenced human affairs since the dawn of time. The text makes one unsettling truth abundantly clear. Every thought you think, every decision you make, every desire you nurture aligns you with either luminous or shadowy forces in this grand cosmic struggle. There is no neutral ground in this battle. Abstention is itself a choice. The Master Key serves as both a map of this metaphysical battlefield and a manual for navigating it successfully. It teaches that what most people call luck or fate is actually the visible manifestation of these invisible wars being waged at the level of vibration, intention, and spiritual allegiance. The book does not shy away from this sobering reality. You are either mastering these forces or they are mastering you. Consider the ancient concept of the Watchers, those unseen intelligences that observe and interact with human affairs. Every esoteric tradition speaks of them, whether as angels, jinn, or archetypal forces. The Master Key reveals how these entities respond to human consciousness, how they amplify certain energies based on the signals we emit through our thoughts and actions. This is not superstition. It is spiritual ecology, the understanding that we exist within a living, responsive universe that mirrors back to us the dominant frequencies of our being. The terrifying and exhilarating implication is this. Your current reality is nothing less than the physical manifestation of which forces you've been unconsciously feeding with your attention and intention. Yet here lies the danger that the Master Key warns about with urgent clarity. Most people are playing this game with no awareness of the rules. They scatter their mental energies in fear, doubt, and distraction, unknowingly strengthening the very forces that keep them bound. The book exposes this tragic irony, that humanity's greatest suffering stems not from external oppression, but from internal misalignment. When you understand that your consciousness is the battleground, you realize why all true spiritual traditions emphasize mastery of the mind above all else. The external world is merely the shadow cast by this interior war, but knowledge of this battle carries grave responsibility. The Master Key does not offer its wisdom for idle curiosity. It demands ethical rigor. The same forces that can heal can harm. What can illuminate can also deceive. History is littered with examples of those who sought occult power without spiritual maturity, becoming pawns in games far larger than their comprehension. The text makes a crucial distinction. There is a vast difference between having power and being worthy of power. This is why the most potent techniques in the book are guarded by ethical prerequisites, not to withhold knowledge, but to protect both the practitioner and the world from the consequences of misapplied wisdom. Why engage with such dangerous knowledge at all? Because ignorance offers no protection, only the illusion of safety. The forces described in the Master Key operate whether you acknowledge them or not, just as gravity functions whether one understands physics or not. The choice is not whether to participate in this cosmic struggle, but how consciously you will participate. This is the book's most vital revelation. Awakening is not about escaping the battle, but about choosing your side with full awareness and stepping onto the field with clarity and purpose. In our modern world of superficial spirituality and commercialized enlightenment, the Master Key stands as a defiant reminder of spiritual realism. It refuses to peddle comforting lies about everyone being equally divine regardless of their choices and acts. Instead, it presents the unvarnished truth. We live in a universe of cause and effect, where every thought and deed has cosmic consequence. The light you cultivate within yourself becomes a beacon in this eternal struggle, or the darkness you tolerate becomes another victory for entropy and dissolution. The question the Master Key leaves you with is not whether these forces exist. The evidence surrounds you every moment in the state of your life and the world. The only question that matters is, which side are you strengthening today? Will you remain an unconscious conscript in this war? Or will you take up the mantle of a conscious warrior of light? The book makes one thing certain: neutrality is an illusion and delay is itself a decision. The battle rages on, your move. The greatest illusion of our age is that ancient wisdom belongs to the past, that these dusty tomes and forgotten teachings have no place in our fast-paced, technology-driven world. The Master Key by L.W. Laurence shatters this misconception with brutal clarity, proving that true spiritual principles are timeless precisely because they work. not in some distant mystical realm, but here now in your career, your relationships, your daily struggles and triumphs. This is not about escaping reality. It's about mastering it. The book presents what modern psychology is only beginning to grasp, that your thoughts are not passive reflections of your circumstances, but active creators of them. Every limiting belief you entertain is a spell cast against your own potential, while every empowered thought is an act of practical magic shaping your tomorrow. Consider how the corporate elite use these very principles, though they would never call them by their true name. Visualization techniques used by Olympic athletes. The master key called it mental imaging a century earlier. The law of attraction peddled by modern gurus. A watered-down version of the vibrational laws this book explains with mathematical precision. The difference is that the master key gives you the complete system, not just the feel-good parts. It doesn't promise you can manifest a sports car by wishing hard enough. It teaches you how to fundamentally alter your mental architecture so that success becomes inevitable. This is alchemy for the digital age, transforming the lead of negative thought patterns into the gold of unstoppable momentum. The terrifying beauty of these teachings lies in their immediacy. You don't need special herbs, expensive crystals, or elaborate rituals to begin seeing results, though the book does contain these techniques for those ready to go deeper. The most powerful magic happens in the theater of your own mind through the disciplined control of attention and intention. Every time you consciously redirect a fearful thought, every time you reject societal programming of lack and limitation, you're performing an act of real-world sorcery more potent than any spell. The master key reveals why most people's attempts at manifestation fail. They're trying to change outer circumstances without first mastering the inner world where all creation begins. Financial abundance. The book explains it as a natural byproduct of specific mental states. Healing. A restoration of proper energy flow. Influence over others. Not through manipulation, but through understanding the universal laws that govern human interaction. These aren't metaphysical concepts, they're working tools sharper than any app or productivity hack. Modern life bombards us with distractions designed to keep us in low vibration states of anxiety and consumption. The Master Key provides the antidote, proven methods to reclaim your mental sovereignty in a world that profits from your lack of it. Yet there's a reason these techniques remain on the fringe despite their effectiveness. They demand something modern culture has trained out of us: focused attention over scattered consumption, personal responsibility over victim mentality, long-term mastery over quick fixes. The book makes no apologies for this. Its magic works precisely because it's not easy. When you apply these principles consistently, you'll start noticing synchronicities, not as happy accidents, but as the universe's logical response to your aligned consciousness. Colleagues will suddenly support your ideas. Opportunities will materialize from nowhere. Obstacles will dissolve not through force, but through your newfound understanding of when to push and when to allow. This is where the Master Key transcends both New Age fluff and sterile materialism. It acknowledges the reality of spiritual forces while providing concrete steps to work with them. That difficult coworker? The book would have you understand their energy signature and how to harmonize with it. That creative block? A malfunction in your mental circuitry that can be rewired. Even technology, the supposed antithesis of spirituality, operates according to the same universal laws these teachings describe. The smartphones in our pockets work because someone understood invisible frequencies. The Master Key teaches you to work with the invisible frequencies of success, health, and influence. The ultimate magic trick isn't pulling rabbits from hats. It's transforming an ordinary life into an extraordinary one using nothing but the untapped powers of your own consciousness. In an era of economic uncertainty and societal upheaval, these teachings aren't just interesting, they're vital survival tools. The coming years will separate those who understand how reality truly works from those stuck in outdated models of cause and effect. The Master Key doesn't just predict this shift, it prepares you to thrive within it. The question isn't whether these principles work. The question is whether you'll use them before your competition does. The clock is ticking. Your future is waiting. Will you open the door? There exists a class of knowledge so potent, so disruptive to established power structures, that entire institutions have been erected to keep it from the masses. The Master Key by L.W. The Laurence belongs to this dangerous category. A book that doesn't merely educate but emancipates, offering liberation from mental slavery most don't even realize they're experiencing. This isn't conspiracy theory, it's historical fact. Every age has its gatekeepers, those who understand that true power comes not from controlling resources but from controlling perception, and nothing threatens their dominion more than awakened individuals who've discovered how reality truly operates. The techniques in this book have been guarded by secret societies, distorted by organized religion, and dismissed by mainstream academia not because they don't work, but because they work too well. Consider the uncomfortable truth. An enlightened populace cannot be controlled. The moment someone realizes their thoughts shape reality, they become immune to manufactured fear. When people understand the vibrational nature of wealth, they escape economic servitude. This is why genuine esoteric knowledge has always been compartmentalized. The Rosicrucians had their inner circles, the Freemans their degree systems, the ancient mystery schools their initiation rites. The Master Key represents a rare breach in this wall of secrecy, a complete system of empowerment published during a brief window when censorship mechanisms failed. Its continued existence today is nothing short of miraculous, surviving over a century of systematic suppression through ridicule, intentional misrepresentation, and strategic obscurity. The suppression tactics follow predictable patterns. First, the knowledge is labeled occult, a term deliberately conflated with superstition to scare away the rational-minded. Then it's declared dangerous with warnings about mental instability, despite the fact that the greatest minds in history, Newton, Goethe, Tesla, engaged deeply with these very. Finally, it's rendered unfashionable, relegated to the fringe where seekers must wade through mountains of misinformation to find the genuine article. The Master Key has endured all these attacks because its principles are rooted in observable reality, not belief systems. The book doesn't ask for faith. It demands experimentation. Try its techniques with discipline, and you'll encounter irrefutable evidence that consciousness affects matter, a truth that dismantles the materialist paradigm underpinning modern control systems. Financial institutions particularly fear this knowledge. Compound interest relies on people believing money is scarce. Consumer capitalism depends on manufactured dissatisfaction. What happens when someone learns they can magnetize abundance without playing rigged games? Religious hierarchies similarly tremble before these truths. Why beg a distant god for favors when you discover the divine mechanism by which prayers are answered? Even the self-help industry waters down these principles, selling placebo affirmations while carefully omitting the real work required for transformation. The Master Key cuts through these deceptions, offering the unvarnished science of achievement that renders middlemen obsolete. The most insidious suppression happens through language itself. Modern culture has stolen or distorted the terminology of power. Magic becomes childish fantasy. Manifestation turns into lazy wishing. Energy work gets reduced to pseudoscience. This linguistic sabotage makes authentic teachings sound ridiculous to the uninitiated. Meanwhile, the elite quietly use these very principles. Corporate vision boards replace magic mirrors. Psychological operations employ ceremonial magic technique. Hedge funds utilize chaos magic principles in market manipulation. They know. They've always known. The greatest conspiracy isn't that these powers exist. It's that you've been convinced they don't. Your awakening threatens this carefully maintained illusion. Each person who masters these principles becomes a living repudiation of the systems designed to keep humanity in check. This explains the visceral backlash against genuine teachers throughout history, from Socrates' hemlock to Bruno's pyre to modern character assassinations. The punishment isn't for being wrong, it's for being right in ways that empower others. The Master Key miraculously escaped complete eradication because it was published in 1914 after the decline of overt witchcraft persecutions but before modern thought policing matured. It exists in that rare twilight where dangerous truths could still be printed. Now comes the critical choice. Will you dismiss this as paranoid fantasy or recognize the pattern staring you in the face? The evidence surrounds you. In the unexplained synchronicities you've experienced, the dreams that foretold events, the moments when focused intention produced uncanny results. The Master Key doesn't introduce foreign concepts. It names and systematizes what your soul already knows. The resistance you feel isn't towards the book. It's towards your own latent power stirring awake. Every institution telling you not to look here has a vested interest. This is the final, most devastating truth the gatekeepers fear. The keys were never truly hidden. They've always been in plain sight, concealed not in vaults but in disbelief. The master key stands as both a revelation and a test. Can you handle the knowledge that makes kings of beggars and sages of fools? Censorship continues today, not through book burnings, but through distraction, through keeping humanity too tired, too entertained, too cynical to reach for the key that's been within grasp all along. The question isn't whether the knowledge is real. The question is, do you want to be free badly enough to claim it? This is not just history. This is your awakening. If you're ready to step into a world beyond the ordinary, to unlock the doors that have been kept hidden from you, then pay close attention. Because what comes next will change everything. Pause, then lower voice the question is, are you brave enough to turn the key this speech is designed to captivate, intrigue, and compel the audience to stay until the very end? Do you like any refinements for a specific tone? Mystical, motivational, or dramatic?